Hello friends, thank you for coming back to my video. This is my 7 Deadly Sin series, Imperial Wrath of the Gods. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, this looks like something today, well, don't get used to it. I feel like I've been one day late for the past 2 uploads, so I decided that I'm gonna give y'all a little something special. I'm doing
6, 7, 8, and 9.
Are y'all ready? We got a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. Episode 6. We are back in the Fairy King's forest. Before we left, everything had just popped off between Meliodas, Ladociel, Elizabeth, and the 2 Ten Commandments, right? Derriere and Sermon Speed. So now we're back in the Fairy King's forest, and we still have to solve this dilemma of why Bon and Deanne are still not in their bodies yet. We are at this scene where Deanne and King are interrogating Gother because they're just like, what do you want? And they actually do get the opportunity to meet the full body Gother next to his doll, and they learn that he has a true desire to put an end to the Holy War. While talking with Deanne and King, the actual guy Gother, let's call him Gother's father. So Gother's father decides he's gonna give Gother his own life back, as well as disclosing to Deanne that in the future he's gonna die. Now, how he knows this is strange to me. We see this Gother telling about his death, and then we see this uproar of emotions. Gother, this is the first time I've ever seen Gother shed any tears. He's extremely emotional, and I love seeing this soft, sweet, delicate side of him. That was everything that happened with King and Deanne. After the conversation between the 2 Gothers, Deanne and King, who are still Dro and Gloxinia, we go back to the revolt between the humans, the fairies, and the giants. You see a bloody Rue, but later in the series I heard Gloxinia call him Ro, so I don't know if it's Rue or Ro, whatever. I'm gonna call him Rue because I think that's the first thing that I heard. So we see a bloodied up Rue. He's killing everybody, and now he's faced against Gerard, who he's just not gonna kill. He's given her several opportunities to leave. He's given her plenty of opportunities to escape. Meanwhile, his homeboy came in, sliced her eye out, sliced one of her wings off, and then sliced her legs off. So this infuriated Rue, and he later kills his comrade in order to save Gerard. As she awakens, she's wondering pretty much why he was so hesitant to kill her. But he tells this story about him and this friend growing up, and the reasoning behind him wanting to kill all the fairies and giants is because earlier in his life, when he was a child, the fairies and giants came and destroyed his village, killing everybody while him and his friends happened to be in the mountains. Meanwhile, during this time, Deanne had stayed behind to talk with Gother plural, and King had went back to help because he knew that something was going down back in that certain area of the Fairy King forest. So he went back to help. Now keep in mind, when he came back and saw a bloody Rue standing over his sister, his first instinct was to kill him, because keep in mind, back when he was king and he left the Fairy King forest, that left his sister open for a member of the demon race to come in and slaughter her. So that would have sparked a crazy emotion within him, because he obviously is not going to want that to happen again a second time to somebody who isn't really his sister. So I feel like that was an emotional test. So he was going in for the kill. He was about to kill Ro or Rue, whoever you want to call him. And then at that moment, he remembered the relationship between Bon and his real sister, Elaine. So he decided to spare his life. And at that moment, he saw an outraged Gloxinia come from the forest in order to slaughter him. So King woke up in his regular body. So this told me, I was just like, okay, they need to make the right choice or the morally correct choice. These are my thought processes while this is happening. Like when they're faced with these detrimental situations, they need to make a wise choice in order to pass the test. So King passed his test and now he's back in his body. So what about Deanne? We'll find out in the next episode. Episode 7 was pretty much based around Deanne's freedom and whatnot. Deanne's test and her passing it. So she has this encounter with the executioner. He was mentioned in the previous episode. They said it's the executioner. And then I was just like, who's the executioner? And then this baby Meliodas comes out with black hair. This black hair Meliodas comes out and he's all tough and stuff, and you're expecting his voice to be like, hi guys, how you doing? But it's like, what are you doing here? You know, I feel like the voices really don't match up for Zeldris at this point. Zeldris, who is the executioner, has this encounter with Deanne, who has transformed into Droll. So they're fighting, and at that moment, even as somebody as powerful as Droll, king of the giants, he realizes that his magic power is not enough to combat somebody as powerful as Zeldris. So what do we do next? Okay, hers was a tricky situation because I feel like Droll put her in a very unfair predicament with her test, because he was extremely powerful. Zeldris was. He was extremely powerful. So he gave her an ultimatum. He said, either you fight me and die, or you come and fight with the 10 Commandments. Period. So there's no way really that she could have escaped that situation. So if her soul died back then in 3,000 years ago, it would have just stayed dead. He gave her a very tricky situation, and I think that he was very low down for that. Honestly, he never should have done that, but he wasn't expecting her reaction. There was no way Deanne could have came out of this situation good as a man, but Deanne was a woman. He was like, okay, but how did you get out of the situation? Because either way, you were gonna die, or you was gonna be fighting with the 10 Commandments, and the way you pass the test is to make a different choice than the one I made. So how did you get by?
いや、どちらを選ぼうと戻ってこれなかったはず。どうやって？
おお、それなら逃げちゃった。
逃げ！
Deanne said, I ran. What you mean? I'm not finna die, and I'm not finna fight with these folks. So what are you talking about? I ran. And men are prideful to the point that they were willing to either, you know, conform or die. Some men. Don't trip. Some men. So, but Deanne, she said, well, I'm a woman, so I can run away. Plus, I also get an opportunity to live and see another day. So that's what you get, Droll. Idiot. So everything is good now. Deanne and King have passed the test. They're back in their same bodies. And it was so sweet. She gave him some kisses. She was like, King, I love you. And then he passed out. So when he woke up, it was very interesting. His little wingies came in. They were so cute. I was so excited for King and Deanne. The couple, you know, they finally got their feelings out there so they could stop getting on people's nerves with all this nervousness and this reluctancy to speak or to show their true feelings. It was honestly getting on my nerves. But now that they're a couple, I'm extremely happy for them. So those two are reunited with the 7 deadly sins, and they also got reunited with King Bartra, who was just like, yeah, I had a dream that this was gonna happen. Cool. They got back to Gother, and King Zeldris presented him with this heart that Father Gother promised him. And then you see Gother run away. Like, he ran. He was he was gone. I never seen anything so fast in my life. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this quick because it's honestly it's actually a filler episode, so I'm not gonna get into it too quickly. So he ran away because he was trying to avoid the memories of when he had his heart, and then he fell in love with a person, and then she passed away. So they tell this story about how Gother woke up 3,000 years ago from when Father Gother sent him back or something of that nature. He woke up in this castle in the basement, in the cavern or something of that sort. And he met this beautiful woman. Her name was Naja. So they met each other. Eventually they became friends, and then eventually in a short time, I think it was like 2 days, eventually 2 or 3 days, they fell in love, you know. But something that he was unaware of, but he could kind of sense for himself, was that she was extremely ill, and each day that they kind of, you know, had fun and talked and stuff, like, she was dying by the day. So Gother became really sad upon her death. He even tried to give her his heart, which I think was absolutely beautiful, but that did not help. So Gother then abandoned his heart, and then he was wrongfully accused of the murder of Naja because he happened to be in the room at the time of her death. And when they came in, he had been all bloodied because he had cut himself. He cut a hole in his heart, and he tried to give it to her, so it was blood everywhere, so it looked like he had murdered her, but he didn't. It was a sickness. So it was a really sad story. So that's why Gother was running away from his heart. He didn't want those feelings and emotions to come back. But then Deanne and King got a hold of him, and they was like, bro, snap out of it. You need your emotions to make you more powerful. But it turns out at the end of the day that Gother still had his emotions all along. That heart that he possessed, it had no magical power. He had his actual feelings on the inside. He had just been suppressing them so long because the pain was just too much for him to bear. And when I think about my boy Gother going through all that, I just get so sad. But it's okay, because at the end of the episode, he got all of his magical powers back, and you can see his full magic potential. It was a whole thing. The 7 deadly sins had a celebration because all 7 of them were there. And then we're on to the next episode, because this one's gonna be juicy. I don't know if I'm pointing to the right direction. So we're on to the next episode, so get ready. It's juicy. In the next episode, you see the 7 deadly sins at the boar hat. It's a celebration, everybody turning up and stuff. It's a whole thing. You got King, who's drunk, trying to explain a very complicated relationship between him and Gother. He's just basically saying, this is difficult for me. I still don't like you for what you did when you wiped away Deanne's memories, but we promised your daddy that we were going to try to make things work with you. So this is me trying to offer you friendship. Something that I thought was really cool in the episode was, after they had established the fact that King was drunk, Escanor goes to try to pick him up and carry him away, and then King was like, no, I still want to drink. He knocks Escanor's glasses off, and then Escanor turns into the mighty Escanor. So I'm just like, so those glasses suppress his magical power. And he got those glasses from Merlin, and I'm just like, Merlin is a real G out here. Shout out to Merlin. She's one of the, if not the most resourceful 7 deadly sin there is. Shout out to Merlin. Meanwhile, during this time, it was somewhere along the beginning of the episode, Merlin has this little scout searching around the kingdom, or searching around some type of magical realm, looking for the presence of King Arthur. I had a thought, because in my mind, I'm thinking Zeldris suppressed the magical power of King Arthur, because in the previous episodes, when it was time for him to fight Droll, Deanne wasn't able to activate her magical powers against Zeldris, and she was like, but how? And he was like, well, I suppressed them. So if we go back to this episode, we see Merlin scouting around for King Arthur, but she can't find him. So I'm thinking Zeldris probably has him, but his magical power is suppressed, so nobody will be able to find him. Okay? During this time, he launches some type of attack on Merlin. It hurts her really bad. So really bad to the point where the next day, like, they go partying, and then she drinks with her friends, and they just like, Merlin, you not tipsy after 1 cup of wine, because you can drink anybody under the table. What is wrong with you? So she goes back to her house, and she's very weak from that attack that Zeldris put on her. Meliodas picks up on it, goes to check on her, make sure she's okay. So before all this happens, Elizabeth seems a little withdrawn from the rest of the group, where she would normally be cheery and happy and eager to talk to people. She was just like withdrawn. Well, this is because Deanne came back from 3,000 years ago to tell her that they got a chance to reunite with Meliodas, as well as this version of her that was awesome. So she confronts Meliodas. Basically, she's just like, I've been getting these hints from time to time telling me that I used to exist with you in the past, so what's all that about? So Meliodas is he's all like, yeah, you know, I don't know. They could be making stuff up when really he knows what's going on. Back to Merlin. The next day, she's really, really sick. Lady Elizabeth comes and tries to help her out. So with her magic ability, she was able to break through the spell that Zeldris put on her. But at that time, also, she had an encounter with Zeldris, and he was just like, so you're not done putting my brother through all of this, you know, emotional pain and strife? And she's like, bro, what are you talking about? Who did I used to be? And he was like, oh. She's like, because I really want to know who I used to be. And he was like, oh, okay. Here, take your memories back. He gave her memories back. The spell on Merlin was released. Elizabeth got her memories back. But for Meliodas, this was a bad thing. Because as we found out later in the episode, Elizabeth was a cursed member of the goddess race. Well, we learned before that every time Elizabeth died, she was resurrected as a baby. So Meliodas told us in this episode that after she gained her memory back, in 3 days, she would die again. So that means Elizabeth would go back to being a child, not remembering Meliodas or any of the 7 deadly sins for that matter. So I think that was her curse. And I think that that was a very juicy episode. Thank you guys for watching this video. While you're at it, don't forget to check out my back to school haul that's coming up momentarily. And also, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll have another video to you guys. Let's just say by Wednesday, because I'm about to start school on Tuesday, and I have no clue at the rate in which I'm gonna be able to keep these videos up. So that in order to give myself a little wiggle room, let's just say on Wednesday. And I cannot wait to finish watching this series with you guys and sharing my thoughts. So y'all have a good day.